This is one of them.
There is a constant.
Hey, Joe, I think Nick Timberlake, I think is like shooting 4-15. When something like that happens early in the season, does he come to you? Do you guys have conversations? You just kind of let that play out? I'm just wondering how, if there's a cycle or a...
No, the sample size is way too small right now. I mean, you played 2 weeks. Plus he got his, he got his bell rung, played 2 minutes the last game. So that's not a fair sample size. But he hasn't shot it as well as he's capable of shooting it, but he will.
Looking back, what did you like about what Jamari gave you in Maui?
Well, I think he's got probably as much moxie as any of the young guys, and is as confident as any of them. Plus, he didn't try to do more than what he's, ready to do right now, which is just move the ball, guard, rebound, and if you're wide open, shoot it. I mean, so I thought he did really well. He wasn't, we put him in against Kentucky with 4 minutes left in a tie game or whatever, or behind, and we end up winning. And then I thought he did some good things in Maui. Primarily the Tennessee game, played like 26 minutes. I mean, so that was great to see him get some confidence that way.
Something you talked about with the 5th starting spot is who's going to fit well with the other 4. Just how do you think Jamari fits with those other 4 guys in that lineup?
Yeah, I think the sample size again is too small. I mean, I think in certain moments you could say that he fits the best. I think there's been moments where you could say Johnny fits the best, and certainly moments where you could say Marco fits the best. Nick is the one guy that you probably can't say that about yet, but we'll end up saying that before too long about him as well. So, yeah, I don't know exactly who it is, but once again, I'm not as much worried about a 5th starter as I am just getting the guys to play better, and that'll work itself out.
You mentioned Nick getting his bell rung. Do you anticipate him being available tomorrow?
Oh yeah, he's available. He practiced yesterday. Yeah, he's practiced the last 2 days. So yeah, he's available.
Bill, I know you mentioned before about Marco just kind of acclimating to the college game and kind of sometimes being his head. How would you say his progression has been the last few weeks, and have you seen some development on both ends?
I would say that I think he's probably gaining on it. The thing about it is, if you've been around this place and studied it over time, Kelly Oubre didn't play any until like the 8th or 9th game, and that was strictly because a guy was late to shoot around. I mean, or he wouldn't have, end up playing then. But once he got a chance to play, it was over. Mario Chalmers didn't play until after Christmas. You guys sometimes look at guys coming in and expect them to be all this or all that right off the bat, and it doesn't happen that way with everybody. Cole Aldridge was a lottery pick, and he couldn't get in the game. Thomas Robinson's a lottery pick. He couldn't get in the game. Travis Relaford was a hell of a basketball player here and didn't play for 2 years. The guys have done fine, but it's still early, and they're not quite where we hope they would be, but they're not so far off that they can't get there in a short amount of time. So, and also the schedule really hasn't lended itself to playing through a ton of mistakes. I mean, you're playing 4 of the best 15 teams in the country in the first 2.5 weeks of the season. So there's not too many teams doing that as well.
How's the team, coming back from jet lag? Is it a tired team or what?
I thought we were a very tired team on Saturday, and we didn't do a lot. And then I thought yesterday we were better, and today I expect us to be full speed. So there's no excuses.
2-1 in Maui. When looking at the tapes, how do you assess the 2-1?
Well, first of all, the game against Tennessee is one of the best ones we've had here in a long time. I mean, 13 hours. One starter hadn't slept in 4 or 5 days. You got Kevin playing sick the whole time. I mean, you got you got a lot of things going on, and somehow rally to beat a team that could easily win the SEC. That was a big win for us, and a gutsy win, to be honest with you. I didn't think we played well against Marquette at all, but I also think Marquette is a more connected, further along basketball team than we are at the same stage too. Even though I didn't think we played well, the end result wasn't something that you say, oh my God. I think the fact that we didn't play well is something that needs to be addressed, but I thought that was a pretty good learning experience for our guys going through that.
What do you think of your current ranking, number 5?
I could care less. I don't know what rankings matter in November in college basketball. Now, football is different. You know, football, if you lose two in September, you're done. This is not like that at all. So, and if it was like that, then obviously you wouldn't schedule the way that we have. But I think you know, we've gone 2-1 in our big game so far, and I don't think that's poor at all. I think we feel good about doing that.
You mentioned how the high-level opponents so far hadn't always been conducive to certain things. Now you got,
I'm sorry, start that again.
yeah, all good. So you got a long stretch of home games coming up now. You got an ebb and flow between different levels of opponents. Just how will that help you in terms of developing the team at this juncture of the season?
How will our schedule help us develop?
Since you got a lot of home games and it's going to be going.
Yeah, I don't. What do we play the next 4 at home? Is that right?
Yeah, you don't go on the road until Indiana.
Yeah, but it's 4 in a row at home. I think that's good. I think you know, a lot of times you talk about ebbs and flows and developing a team. You know, I would think that most of our fan base thinks Missouri's a must-win game. I would think a lot of people think that Connecticut is a game that you do everything you possibly can to win. So if you're just trying to work in guys just because they're young to play, I'm not sure those are the type of games you do that with. So, you know, I think it'll happen naturally. And of course, we play Eastern Illinois tomorrow, and Marty's a great coach, and we're going to play to win that game. And if we get a chance to play a lot of guys, great. But I would predict we're going to play 9 guys, and we're not going to play 10. And 9 exactly will play, and so how the minutes are dispersed or what, I don't know that yet.
And then is everyone else doing all right health-wise as well? You mentioned Nick.
Yeah, everybody practiced, except for Jane. Jane's got the flu, or maybe not the flu, but he's got something.
You talked about guys coming in and people expecting them to be all that right away, and I was going to ask you this anyway, but not specifically with your guys, but has what a McDonald's All-American is changed over the years? I know you've recruited a lot of them, whether you got them or not. You've seen that game, you know those players.
Well, I think that a lot of times you recruit based on what you think their ceiling is, not recruiting on where they are at that moment. I don't know if in football you recruit an offensive tackle because he can start as a freshman. I don't think anybody thinks like that. So in recruiting, it's different. You know, the guys that are coming in and starring and doing a lot as a freshman, some of them aren't highly recruited guys. Some of them just fit. Some of them know how to play. Some of them are playing a lot because they have to play a lot because there's nobody else to play. Some of them are automatic one and dones. Some of them are 2 or 3 year guys. I mean, everybody's different. Everybody has their own ceiling and own pace in which they can reach that ceiling. So a sample size of 2.5 weeks, I think is so unfair to think that we're making a judgment based on who somebody is based on an expectation. I'll be honest with you, whether you're McDonald's All-American or Christian Brown, I got this exact same expectation for you when you get here. I mean, no, I didn't think Christian was less than a McDonald's All-American, and I didn't think a McDonald's All-American was more than Christian when they came in. When you take that jacket off, or if you never got one to put on, it doesn't matter. It's in a closet when you get here and you got to reprove yourself all over again. That's the way it works everywhere. And what you do in college, unless it puts you in a position to be a lottery pick or something, doesn't have anything to do with you beating out 28-year-old men when you get to the pros too. It's a fresh slate. How can you help us win and be better? So everybody goes through things differently. I'm hearing that Toronto loves Grady Dick, but he's not playing as much as some of the other rookies out there. Does that mean that he's not as good a prospect? No, it doesn't mean anything like that. It means for that particular organization, this is their strategy in developing him. Yeah, sample size is too small, 2.5 weeks in, and if we bid on all that, then there would be a lot of really good players that played here that went on to have great careers and even get their jersey hung and go on to be pros that we may have given up on a little bit early just because they got off to a slower start than what the fan expectation thinks it is.
Real quick too, I wanted to ask you about Hunter and rebounding. Did he flip a switch when the regular season started? You talked a little bit about that in Puerto Rico and exhibition games, that he didn't go after the ball quite as much.
I actually think he looks like a different guy rebounding the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's getting a lot of balls, and you could say, well, some of them are falling his way, but he's going to get some in traffic too. I mean, I think he's leading the country in rebounding as we speak, which who knows if that can maintain at this level. But you got to understand something. When you look at stats, look at the games that are your hardest games. Stats can be so skewed. You know, some guys average 15 a game and they got 28 against somebody and they got 4 against Tennessee. That's not the way you should look at it. Hunter's getting 27 and 20 against Tennessee and Kentucky. That's what, and then if you get 4 in a game, like one of our first 2 games of the season, it totally skews your stats. But he's averaging 12.3 a game. But if you just look at the 3 hardest games we played, heck, he's averaging 16 or 17. So that's at least how I look at it. I think stats are so misleading, especially when there's such a small sample size of what somebody is doing. Somebody could get 10 assists in the game and get a total of 3 the next 4 games, and he's averaging 4 assists a game. No, he's not. He's averaging 1. You know, the way I look at it. So I think Hunter's stats, based on who we played, have been very impressive.
Got time for a couple more.
Bill, the tangibles and intangibles that you're seeing in your staples, defense and toughness, how is this team impressing you early on?
I don't think that, from my vantage point, we've guarded yet like we're capable of. But statistically, we've guarded great. But I don't think that's totally real either. I think we've had some people miss some open looks too, Dave. But I do think that the Tennessee game, from a toughness standpoint, I mean, we haven't had too many teams pull that off since I've been at Kansas. If you think about that, I mean, Juan doesn't make any shots. KJ hadn't slept in 4 days. You know he's totally spent. Kevin is sick as a dog. And you got a situation where you're playing 13 hours after you just finished. You know, in the NBA, they play back-to-backs, but it's a minimum of 24 hours, and if it's travel, it's like 26 or 27. And the most you can ever play is 3 games in 5 days because the chances of an injury are escalated so much by playing back-to-back, let alone back-to-back-to-back. You do it on 13 hours. I mean, that showed me something, guys. Now, Tennessee, granted, played on 16 hours, which is still ridiculously hard, but that showed me something from a toughness standpoint about what we have in us in Maui, because Tennessee is one of the tougher teams that you'll play against all year.
Bill, what stands out to you about Eastern Illinois?
I think they can all shoot. Now statistically, it doesn't all show that. When you look at them, everybody's got good form. Everybody can get their own shot. Everybody can shoot. They got a four-man that can play the five, that can stretch it. I think they can all shoot. And Marty's a terrific coach. I don't know if you followed his career, but he had a great success at Evansville. That would be the thing. And if you let people come in and make shots against you, you know, that's the great neutralizers, that three-point shots. So they're dangerous.
Did Kevin have the flu or something?
No, he's got some type of sinus deal going on.
And on a lighter note, could you predict what bowl game KU will go to?
You know what? I haven't studied it, and I don't know if they're all slotted. I have no idea how they do it in the bowl games. But if I was a fan, I'm hoping for Phoenix or Florida. I don't even know what bowls exist there, but that's what I'm hoping for. All right.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.